Good morning, students. So, welcome to the last part of the chapter Organism and Population. So, today let's start with Commensalism. Commensalism means the interaction between two organisms in which one particular species will not allow the second species to grow near it. Okay, so this is completely harmful for this species. For example, the plant black walnut, the roots and hulls produce a particular type of chemical which is known as the juglone, and that juglone is so much toxic that it will not allow any plants to grow near it, not even the saplings of the walnut plant. So this particular interaction is known as the commensalism. Now next is scavenging. Scavenging means the interaction in which a particular organism is dependent for its nutrition on the dead organisms, dead animals and the corpse. So that is known as scavenging. Now this example is vulture. The vulture normally it feeds on the dead bodies and dead parts, flesh of the dead animals. Next is commensalism. Now one more thing, that scavenging has many importance advantages. Now if the dead bodies are removed, then definitely the environment becomes clean. Okay, now next is commensalism. Commensalism means it is the interaction in which two species are included. Here one is affected but other is not affected. That is, this species 1 will be benefited but the species 2 is neither benefited nor affected. It is unaffected organism. For example, the sucker fish, which is called remora, it attaches itself to the underside of the shark. Now when the shark fish eats the food, something falls from its mouth, so that particular left out food is eaten by the sucker fish, and that's their benefited, and in this interaction the shark is neither affected nor harmed. So this is known as commensalism. Again, in case of epiphytes, orchids, they grow on other plants. Now they absorb the moisture from the air with the help of the velamen tissue. That is a special type of tissue which helps the plants to, especially the epiphytic plants, to grow. So that is commensalism, but it is growing on that particular plant only in order to occupy the space. So that particular interaction, the host is not affected, only the benefit is taken by the epiphyte. So that is known as commensalism. Now next is protocooperation. Protocooperation means here two species are involved, both the species help each other, but they can even live without one another. Okay, so if species 1 help 2, species 2 help 1, but if they are single also, they can survive. So that particular cooperation is known as, or interaction is known as, protocooperation. For example, the red-billed oxpecker and the yellow-billed oxpecker, that is, these are birds which feed on the type of tricks, and other parasites which stick on the skin of the rhinoceros. So thus both are benefited. The rhinoceros also gets away from, it's free from the, becomes free from the parasites, and the birds, they are feeding on it, they are getting the nutrition. So both the organisms are benefited. And one more example here is there, the crocodile bird. The crocodile bird means that particular bird remains not, it goes inside the mouth of the crocodile and it just remove the leeches while it gets inside, and in return then the mouth, the crocodile is not affected, it is affected but it is not harmed. So that particular interaction is known as protocooperation. But without that also, each individual can live together individually. Okay, now the next is mutualism. Mutualism means the particular interaction in which both the organisms are benefited and neither can live single. That means this interaction is important here because species 1 and 2 can live together in an cooperation, but without one another they cannot at all survive. For example, the lichen. We are all familiar about lichen. The lichen, it is an association between algae and fungi. So in that association, the algae will provide it will help to provide the food to the fungus, and fungus helps to absorption of water and nutrient from the soil. So the host where it is growing. So that particular association, both are benefited, and that is known as mutualism or mutualistic relationship. Again, in case of symbiotic bacteria, the rhizobium, which remains in the roots of roots of the leguminous plant, it forms nodules, helps in nitrogen fixation, and thus benefit the plant. In return, it absorbs the nutrition water from the plant. Again, mycorrhiza is the association between fungus and roots of higher plants. So there also the fungus will help in absorption, solubilization and absorption of minerals and uptake of water, and in return from the root it will absorb the nutrition. So this is known as mutualism. So these are the interactions, population interaction, that we have come across. So go through them, and in books more than these examples are given, so go through each and every example repeatedly, go through the examples properly.